Have you ever stopped to think about what it would be like to live in one of the driest regions on the planet? Today we're diving into the world of the Simba, a nomadic community that inhabits the arid lands between Zambia and Botswana in the southwest of Africa. They stand out for their clever ways of overcoming challenges and for keeping traditions that catch people's attention amidst the continent's rich cultural diversity. One of the most fascinating aspects is their house-building technique. Instead of using common materials, they mix mud and dung to construct solid and functional homes. This choice isn't just about practicality. It reflects their deep connection with the environment. The lack of water also calls for creative solutions. Instead of frequent baths, they apply cow fat mixed with aromatic herbs to their skin, keeping it hydrated and protected from the harsh climate. When it comes to social relationships, the Simba have their own views on family and marriage. Polygamy is accepted and seen as a sign of strength and prestige within the group. Another surprising practice is what they call wife lending, which might seem unusual to outsiders but has been a part of their traditions for generations. Curious to learn more about these customs and find out how this community thrives in such a challenging environment? Stick with us until the end of this video to dive even deeper into the Simba culture and understand what keeps this community strong and united over time. In Kaokoland, in northern Namibia, the feeling of isolation truly comes to life. Even though the country is in southern Africa and borders South Africa, much of what happens here is shaped by the arid climate and the vast desert stretches that run along the coast. Heading north, close to Angola, we find one of the most remote regions in the country. The rugged, mountainous terrain acts as both a natural barrier and a guardian of traditions. It's in this setting that the HIMBA people have preserved their ancestral customs, protected by the region's inaccessibility and geography, where modernity has yet to take over. To reach Kaokoland, we set off from Opuwo, the regional capital. The journey itself is a full immersion experience. Dirt roads wind through rocky mountains, and every turn reveals the isolation that has kept the HIMBA culture almost untouched. Along the way, you can truly feel the power of the place, witnessing how the landscape and traditions are intertwined in a story that remains alive despite the changes happening elsewhere. Imagine living in a remote region where the heat is relentless and water is a rare resource. This is the daily reality for the HIMBA, a group that inhabits northwestern Namibia. On one hand, their distance from urban centers has kept their ancestral traditions almost untouched. On the other, it makes access to basic necessities and healthcare a real challenge. Even so, this community has found ways to adapt and overcome the hardships of life in such a dry and isolated environment. With an estimated population of around 50,000 spread across the Kaokoland region, the HIMBA have fascinated researchers who see them as a living example of a social and cultural heritage that has been preserved for generations. Unlike other Namibian groups that have embraced aspects of modern life, the HIMBA continue to follow a way of life rooted in oral traditions, daily practices centered on cooperation, and deep respect for nature. Their language, Herero, plays a crucial role in keeping their community connected. More than just a way to communicate, every word carries stories, memories, and lessons about the world around them. Today, let's take a closer look at the HIMBA people, who live in northern Namibia and hold on to ancestral traditions that challenge conventional norms. One of the most striking aspects of their way of life is how they view community. Instead of prioritizing the individual, the HIMBA see themselves as a single interconnected unit, where every decision is made with the well-being of the entire group in mind. In this mindset, polygamy is common, not just as a sign of prestige, but as a system designed to strengthen family alliances and keep the community strong from generation to generation. That's why it's normal to find men with multiple wives, each playing a key role in maintaining balance within the group. But there's one practice that fascinates outsiders even more: wife sharing. When a guest arrives at a HIMBA man's home, they might receive a much more intimate welcome than what we're used to. The wife may spend the night with the visitor, something that in their culture is seen as a gesture of trust and hospitality. While this might seem unusual to outsiders for the HIMBA, it's a powerful sign that hospitality knows no limits and that deep respect is at the heart of their way of life. Imagine living in a place where the heat is intense and the sand seems endless. That's the reality for the HIMBA people in northern Namibia, who showcase incredible creativity when it comes to building sturdy and comfortable homes. Their construction method might seem surprising at first. They use a mix of mud and dung to coat a wooden frame. But this technique is about more than just keeping the inside cool on scorching days or shielding against sandstorms. For the HIMBA, it's a tradition passed down through generations, reinforcing their cultural identity. Each layer of mud and dung, once dried under the sun, is carefully polished, creating solid walls that reflect light in a unique way. The finishing touch comes from the HIMBA women, who decorate the walls with intricate designs, turning each home into a one-of-a-kind work of art. These patterns aren't just for decoration. They tell family stories and represent values that unite the community. In this way, their homes become a symbol of pride, reminding everyone of the strength and traditions that keep the HIMBA people deeply connected to their roots. Have you ever imagined living in a place where every drop of water is precious? That's the reality for the HIMBA people. They live in one of the driest regions on the planet, where water scarcity is a constant challenge. To survive, they prioritize using this limited resource for essential needs like drinking and cooking, giving up the traditional bath. But that doesn't mean hygiene is ignored. The HIMBA have developed a method that requires no water at all: cleansing with smoke. They burn animal fat over hot coals and let the smoke surround their skin and clothes. This process acts as a natural cleanser, repels insects, and even holds deep spiritual meaning, reinforcing their connection to their culture. All of this shows how the HIMBA have adapted to their harsh environment in an impressive way, without losing their bond with nature. Using smoke instead of water isn't just practical. It's a powerful example of how tradition and respect for natural resources can ensure survival in extreme conditions. The Simba people are known for valuing aesthetics in a way that goes beyond simple decoration. Their jewelry, often made from metal and shells, is a key part of their identity, reflecting both social status and different life stages. One example is the number of anklets worn by women, not just a fashion statement but also a marker of their place in the community. One of the most important traditions is the ritual that marks a girl's transition into adulthood. As soon as they experience their first menstruation, they begin wearing metal belts that symbolize this transformation. More than just accessories, these adornments represent the strength of cultural bonds and the deep sense of unity among them. Another custom that sparks curiosity and sometimes controversy among visitors is wife lending. Seen by the Simba as an act of hospitality, this practice reflects the trust a husband places in both his wife and the guest. While it may seem unusual to outsiders for the Simba, it reinforces mutual respect and highlights the importance of collective harmony. These traditions might feel unfamiliar to many of us, but they offer a chance to rethink how we perceive values and behaviors different from our own. Would you feel comfortable taking part in such a unique coming-of-age ritual? Or could you imagine adopting hygiene practices that don't rely on daily water use? Share your thoughts in the comments. Every perspective adds to the conversation about this fascinating culture. The Imba culture is built around a social structure where women hold an essential and highly respected role. At first glance, it may seem traditional, but in reality, female power influences every aspect of the community. One of the most notable practices that highlights this autonomy is wife lending. To outsiders, it might seem controversial, but among the Imba, it reflects a deep sense of freedom and mutual trust. Women's influence goes even further when it comes to collective decision-making. They don't just share opinions. They actively shape important choices because their voices are valued and taken seriously. This level of respect is the result of centuries of cooperation and a shared sense of responsibility within the group. Another striking aspect of Imba culture is the meticulous care women take with their appearance. They apply ajus, a reddish cream made from butter and ochre, to protect their skin from the intense sun and insects. But beyond its practical use, ajus carries deep cultural significance, serving as a statement of identity and dignity. When paired with symbolic adornments, this practice highlights the resilience and importance of every woman in shaping the HIMBA's social fabric. In the heart of a land where tradition and modernity intertwine, HIMBA women stand out with their strong presence and the vital role they play in leading their community. Their style is the result of centuries of wisdom, blending ancestral influences with modern touches that showcase a rich cultural heritage. The colors of their clothing and the accessories they wear go far beyond aesthetics. Every anklet, every hairstyle carries a special meaning, whether it's marking personal achievements or symbolizing the respect and admiration the community holds for these women. Each piece tells a story that has been passed down through generations, reinforcing their collective identity. HIMBA culture comes to life even more during the Simba festivals, moments when the entire community gathers for celebrations filled with dance, music, and tributes to their ancestors. These festivities highlight the deep spiritual connection the HIMBA people maintain with their surroundings and their protectors, expressing a unique way of honoring the roots that shape each individual. In the depths of a land with an intense climate, the HIMBA community thrives, maintaining a strong connection to its roots. From an early age, each generation learns traditions passed down by their ancestors, shaping both ritual celebrations and everyday life. One of the most striking examples is the way they build their homes, using a mix of mud and dung, a smart solution that keeps the houses cool in extreme heat while remaining practical and durable. Another custom that stands out is their use of smoke for hygiene instead of water baths. While this might seem unusual to outsiders, it protects the skin and adapts perfectly to the environment. When it comes to relationships, the community follows traditions that foster collective alliances and ensure deep respect for women, who are recognized as essential pillars of society. They don't just master skills passed down through generations, they also uphold the values that keep the community strong and united. As for education, the focus isn't on conventional schooling, but rather on practical knowledge that reinforces the sense of community. Whether working in the fields, taking part in rituals, or managing daily responsibilities, learning happens naturally through lived experiences, creating a deep sense of belonging. And that wraps up our journey through these unique cultures of southwestern Africa. Let us know in the comments what stood out to you the most. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can keep exploring the richness and diversity of cultures around the world with us.